Hello and happy holidays, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about my favorite mangas I read of 2025. I think this is a year that I read the most, so deciding what my favorites were was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. We've got shoujo romance, we've got BL, Yuri, brief stories. I feel like I read a bit of everything this year. Some of these made me laugh, and then there were some that made me just stare at the wall for a long time and think about my life. This isn't a ranked list, it's just that every single one of these left a long-lasting impression on me. So let's get into it. Starting off with one of my favorite shoujo romances of this year, and that is It Takes More Than a Pretty Face to Fall in Love. The story follows Sana, a girl who loves people with pretty faces. As a result, she ends up going to the school because she hears that one of her favorite influencers goes to the school. However, when she runs into her favorite influencer Kanato, she finds out that he is actually completely different than what she expected. He's really struggling with having any motivation to even go to school, and in order for him to not get kicked out of school, he has to get the school's social media to a certain follower goal. Sana takes up the role of being his social media manager, helping to make sure he doesn't get kicked out of school, and in the process she learns more about him and sees him for who he truly is. This series and the following one that I'm going to talk about were one of the few series that instantly I was like, I need to buy merch of them, and I found merch. Ordered some of the Japanese copies because they come with standees and I wanted standees of them. These two were just so cute. I love their dynamic. It was one of those stories where I was genuinely like kicking my feet and giggling. Moving on to Otaku Vampire's Love Bite. I talk about this series every chance that I get. It is from the same mangaka of Kami-sama Kiss. It follows Hina, a shut-in vampire from Romania, who is completely obsessed with the anime Vampire Cross. She ends up moving to Japan to live her otaku dream and be able to participate in all these Vampire Cross events, only to discover that her next door neighbor looks exactly like her favorite character, Mao, from Vampire Cross. Hina is extremely lovable. She's very naive in some senses, but at the same time she's this powerful vampire who just really has no interest in partaking in her vampiric duties, I guess. It's very funny and sweet and relatable if you're a collector and really have a special interest with a specific series. The art in it is super cute too, as expected from the mangaka of Kami-sama Kiss. So if you want something more lighthearted and fun to read, I would definitely recommend checking out Otaku Vampire's Love Bite. This next manga really hurt in many different ways. It hurt constantly. It also hurt in a very gentle manner. I can't even describe it, and that is Composing Spring in This Room Where Cherry Blossoms Bloom. The story follows Haruki, who meets Sakura on her first day of university. They fall in love, they live together after graduation, they have this very lovely life together, and then suddenly Sakura disappears from this world. 5 years later, Haruka is still trapped in grief from the death of her partner, and that's when she finds Sakura's unfinished diary. And through this diary, we as the readers and Sakura both relive their love, despite knowing how it ends. It's a really kind of quiet and devastating exploration of grief and memory and unfinished goodbyes, and also learning how to keep living when someone that you love is gone. I think this is a really beautiful and also really painful story, and it was one of my favorite reads. When I read it, I knew it was going to be a story that I would never forget. Switching gears, on a lighter note, Phantom Busters was one that I was really not expecting to enjoy as much as I did, but I had an absolute blast reading it. It's still an ongoing series, but up to right now, I'm really enjoying it. This series is serialized in Jump SQ, and it follows Eugene, a skeptical high school student who doesn't believe in ghosts, and when he meets Mogari, a hectic ghost-eating exorcist, the two of them decide to form a club together. This club is dedicated to handling supernatural threats in their town, and they end up recruiting 2 more members, Kawaru and Kotaro, who all have different supernatural abilities. I really enjoyed this series because it is really funny. I also really liked the art style. It has comedy and it still has like slice of life school antics thrown in there. It surprised me with having some heartfelt moments as well. And I love the supernatural aspect of it as well. I could see this manga growing in popularity very quickly and getting an anime adaptation very soon. The Vampire and His Pleasant Companion is another one that I was not expecting to enjoy as much as I did. I did include this in my last video about things to read for Halloween/fall season, but if you haven't seen that video and this is the first time you're hearing about the series, The Vampire and His Pleasant Companion follows Albert, a vampire who is accidentally frozen in bat form and shipped from Nebraska to Japan. He ends up in the care of Akira, a human who absolutely at first does not believe that he is a vampire and just thinks that he is a giant weirdo. What follows is a very comedic, slow burn relationship, friendship built on misunderstandings, and Albert trying to navigate this new life of his in Tokyo. One thing that I really enjoyed in this series is that Albert does not speak Japanese. which of course makes sense because he accidentally got shipped to Japan from Nebraska. But I really enjoyed seeing how it shows his language barrier, and he's really trying to learn Japanese, to adjust to this life, to communicate with the person who is taking care of him and housing him. And this language barrier does cause issues for him. Overall, this was a really fun read. My manga club read this and I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but I had so much fun reading it that I instantly just binge read it. And it's still one of those series that I enjoyed reading the most this year. Moving back to my tragic Yuri is The Summer You Were Here. This one deserves a content warning because it does have some heavy themes and it will probably break you. This is a Yuri manga about Shizuki. She's a shy, introverted writer, and Kaori, her classmate, who is the complete opposite. She is very loved. She is bright and popular. One day, Kaori finds Shizuki's writing and asks Shizuki to write a love story starring the two of them. What begins as kind of sweet and watching these friendship/relationship slowly develop descends into a much heavier exploration about bullying and psychological trauma and self-worth and mental health issues. This manga doesn't necessarily romanticize pain, kind of just sits with it, and it does treat its characters with empathy. I really enjoyed the story, and it was also devastating, and it did stay with me for a while after I finished reading it. Punk's Triangle was a read that I just picked up because I liked the cover art, and I had seen some of the character designs, and I'm a sucker for any series that has to do with fashion, especially punk fashion. However, the series surprised me because it didn't really have anything to do with that. I did just judge it based off of its cover. It follows fashion student Chiaki, who dreams of seeing his designs worn by his idol Ai, and when a competition at a school offers him that opportunity, he is more than ready, until he's paired with Enaga, his clumsy and unfashionable classmate. After getting into a bad situation, Chiaki ends up finding himself being rescued by his idol Ai, caught between his glamorous and seductive idol and his awkward classmate, who may be hiding more than he's letting on. Chiaki is thrown into a very unexpected love triangle. Another unexpected one that I enjoyed is Snow Fairy. This is a very quiet and cozy BL, in my opinion. It follows city photographer Akihito, who travels to Hokkaido to photograph snow fairies and ends up staying with Haruki, a local farmer. As winter passes, the two of them slowly grow closer together, navigating their two different lifestyles and just really opening up to each other. The art in this is really beautiful, and the pacing is very calming and kind of cozy and gentle. It's kind of a slow burn about opening up and finding warmth in unexpected places. Another great one that I read this year was A Star Brighter Than the Sun. This is from the same mangaka that did My Love Story. I feel like this series is a shoujo classic in the making. If you love the tall girl, short guy dynamic, this is a little bit of that. It follows childhood friends who reconnect in high school. It's basically, she was considered tall for her class, he was considered smaller than the boys. When they were younger, they used to always rely on each other and kind of take care of each other. She realized that her feelings of friendship might have been something more, and he ends up feeling kind of like distant from her, only to reconnect in high school. It's very sweet, very cute. It's very warm, sincere, and it also received an anime adaptation that started in October of this year. Another series that I love that also received an anime this year, This Monster Wants to Eat Me. This one is unsettling and also kind of strangely tender, which is why I really enjoyed it. If you are kind of looking for a counterpart to The Summer Hikaru Died, this is sort of the Yuri version. I don't really want to compare them, but it is kind of monster-human dynamic. It follows Hinako, who is really struggling with her mental health. She has no will to live after losing her family in a drowning incident and being unable to accept that she is the only one that survived. One day she is being attacked by a monster, and she is saved by a mermaid named Shiori, who announces that she plans to eat Hinako once she is ripe or matured. But until then, she promises to protect Hinako and make sure that no other monster eats her so that she gets the honor of eating her. This is another series that really explores grief and depression, and also, in a strange way, the comfort of being wanted, even if it is in a dangerous way. The art is great in this. The reason that I feel it is unsettling is because the monsters are illustrated in a very eerie way. But the series is also emotional and like unexpectedly compassionate. I really enjoyed reading this one when I read it. This is another one that my manga club read, and I ended up binge reading it. And I was really excited when the anime got announced. The anime is very good. I believe it is on Crunchyroll. If you are looking for a horror Yuri, I would definitely check this one out. Those are my top favorite mangas of 2025. I read a lot and I enjoyed so many series, but I think these are the ones that come to the top of my head when I want to recommend something I've read this year. If you've read any of these, I need to hear your thoughts. I'd love to know what you thought of them. And if you haven't, congratulations. Your reading list just got longer. I wish I could reread these for the first time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe, comment. It all helps me. And let me know what your favorite mangas were this year or what manga defined your year. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.